Welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel. This is the third installment of our monthly Best of Album and EP reviews. So let's look back at the best rock and metal releases for the month of August 2023. I've got 9 records to recommend as essential listening. We started the month with arguably the best death metal album of the year so far. I am, of course, talking about the sophomore LP from Brazilian metal vixens Crypta, who released Shades of Sorrow on the 4th of August via Napalm Records. Wow, where to begin? Well, actually, start by watching the recent A.D.K interview that I did with drummer Luana de Meto. We uploaded it to the channel on the 9th of September, so go and check that out. Now, this record is death metal in all its glory. The drums are highly technical and effervescent, the guitar riffs are crunchy and rapid and from all reaches of the fretboard, and the vocals are ferocious. I hear morbid angel and death in this album, but the band also insert neoclassical and even flamenco passages into this whirlwind of sound. You can tell a classic album in the making when you get to the best song on the album, and it's the penultimate track, in this case, Lord of Ruins. It's worth mentioning the poignancy of the lyrics as well. Fernanda Lira explodes universal and personal themes of isolation, battling through depression, overcoming the things that set us back in life, and turning the negative energies into something forceful that can help us fight through the hard times. You can tell that the band have pushed their creative abilities to new levels on this record. Perhaps the most difficult sophomore effort of the year was Ern's follow-up to their critically acclaimed 2021 album, Serpent and Spirit. Now, we awarded it Album of the Year for 2021 at Scream Blast Repeat, and it seems Joe Duplantier of Gojira agrees, because he flew them out to his studio in Brooklyn to record A Feast of Sorrow, released on the 11th of August via Candlelight Records. Those of you expecting another progressive melting pot of sludge and thrash metal from the London trio will be surprised by Ern's latest offering. This one is a darker and angrier album, focusing on a recurring theme of the debilitating diseases that claim us later in life. This time, Angus Neira's crushing guitars are more reminiscent of Conjurer and Machine Head than Black Sabbath and Orange Goblin, and the new drummer James Kirk is on top form here, accenting everything in sight and pocketing the riffs like Mario Duplantier. Vocalist and bassist Joe Nally must be the loudest singer in metal. Listen to the way he barks into the microphone as if doing a sound check for a Neurosis gig. You might also detect a Queensryche influence sneaking into the music, certainly on the song A Stumble of Words. Equal parts thrash, sludge, prog and groove metal earn her on a glorious journey of self-discovery, and I expect them to ascend to the next tier of the heavy metal hierarchy after this release. Who remembers James Jim Bob Isaac from the Rise Above Records group Taint, who released 2 cult albums before disbanding in 2010? The Welsh metal legend is back with a new project called Silverburn, who released their debut album Self-Induced Transcendental Annihilation via MSH Music Group on the 11th of August. It seems Jim Bob decided that he'd had enough of working with other musicians, and he handles every instrument and even the cover art for this record. Think of the noisy post-hardcore of the 1990s with a challenging mathcore fury of Botch and Dillinger Escape Plan, and a layer of groove straight from the days of Helmet and even the Rollins Band. The vocals bristle with masculine rage as the guitars and drums explore more rabbit holes than a ferret let loose by a hunter. This is heavy and chaotic music that will leave you wanting to sit down to recover when it all comes to an end. Of course, you want to press the play button once again when your brain's ready for another experience of quantum thrash. Canadian death metal veterans Cataclysm have experienced a rebirth since switching to 7-string guitars and drop F tunings in 2020. They released album number 15, Goliath, on the 11th of August via Nuclear Blast. I always wondered how they could replace drum colossus Ollie Boudouin after he left following their last record, but it seems they've found somebody who can replicate the bomb blast technique with equal devastation. The last few records by Cataclysm have focused on groove and hyperblasting drums, and this Formula continues to serve them well. Vocalist Maurizio Iacono rose with a pathos unusual in death metal. You don't even need the lyric sheet to hand to decipher his words. The likes of Dark Wings of Deception and The Redeemer are two of the finest songs he've produced this century, and dare I say it, they even have a catchy song called Bringer of Vengeance that could pass for a new metal band playing death metal like Cold Chamber interpreting Cryptopsy. Trust me, it's actually not as bad as it sounds. I'm still unsure whether Cataclysm are underrated. Probably not, but when was the last time you saw somebody wearing their t-shirt at a metal gig in England? You'd certainly see people displaying their merch at a heavy metal concert in Germany. But how many of you are fans of the band? I'm a late convert. London hardcore quartet Negative Frame have completed their transition into a technical metal outfit on their latest EP, The Mercy Killing, released on the 11th of August via the Coming Strife Records. This band made inroads into the grindcore and hardcore scenes in mainland Europe last year, especially in Spain and Portugal. The 5 songs here are so aggressive you wonder if the fucking headphones are gonna melt. Guitarist Ollie Coyne has an arsenal of crunchy metallic riffs at the ready, a bit like Venom Prison. Man, this is a fucking busy EP. Think of the start-stop violence of Jesus Piece with the callous death metal of Japanese bruisers Defiled. Listen to the song Heat of Hell and ask yourself if Terror would sound like this if you asked them to have more contortions to the music. I'm in two minds whether to attend a Negative Frame show after hearing this EP. I don't think these would last longer than 2 minutes in the pit. The most talked about metal release of the last 3 months is undoubtedly album number 4 from Swedish melodeath quartet Orbit Culture, who released Descent via Seek & Strike Records on the 18th of August. Other than Sleep Token, it's hard to think of another band that have received more hype, but this time it's justified. I normally press the skip button when somebody mentions the words Sweden and melodic death metal in the same sentence. Not this time. That's because Orbit Culture decided they wanted to write their own version of Metallica's Black Album and spice it with Fear Factory's Demanufacture and Gojira's The Way of All Flesh. The riffs on this album are fucking colossal. The vocals show how to mix hostile gutturals with barbaric roars and anthemic rock choruses. Like many new to this band, I saw the video for From the Inside on YouTube and knew that I needed to learn more. There's no fat here, just tender chunks of meat. Vocalist and guitarist Nicholas Coulson proves his credentials as one of the best songwriters from the current generation on this LP. This will top a good few Album of the Year polls in December. The candidate for the strangest death metal album of 2023 goes to American quartet Horrendous, who we interviewed for the ADK channel on the 20th of August. So they released Ontological Mysterium via Season of Mist on the 18th of August. It's more accurate to call this an experimental record seen through the lens of death metal. The exaggerated spew of the vocals and the virtuoso bass guitar noodling stand out here underneath the Megadeth riffing. It's become a cliche to say that nothing's off limits to this band, but the Frank Zappa-esque title track and the merging of Judas Priest with abstract shoegazing melodies on the blaze defy logic. You can hear the band having fun on this record, whether it be the psychobilly thrash of Exogenesis or the tech death stylings underpinning the prog rock expeditions. Those of you bored by the tedium of modern death metal might change your mind after listening to this LP. Just as weird is the new album from technical hardcore experimentalists Ox. Hailing from Aarhus in Denmark, they released their 4th LP, The Primordial Blues, via Nefarious Industries on the 18th of August. It baffles me how this band can be a trio, never mind how the vocalist can double as the guitarist in such a complex, rhythmical outfit. Chaos and insanity are 2 words that come to mind here, yet you can also hear Afro beats, jazz fusion guitar fills, and post-metal aggression underneath the mathcore bludgeoning. You might not understand it at first. I didn't. I still don't. The levels of rage are murderous. Even Gorguts will be impressed by the advanced experimentation of this album. Perhaps only the vocals take some getting used to. I expected these to be the muscular scream vocals of hardcore, but frontman Alex Bossum delivers the words in a lower range death metal voice instead. But if you like the new Silverburn record, you'll enjoy this one as well. And finally, We end with one of the most anticipated records in the new wave of British death metal scene. I am of course talking about the sophomore effort from Cambridge quartet Celestial Sanctuary, who released their latest studio recording Insatiable Thirst for Torment via Church Road Records on the 25th of August. Named after a bolt thrower song from 1992, these boys are masters of the chunky, pinch harmonic riffing and the gory vocal abrasions. They remind me of American death thrash enthusiasts' Creeping Death, but with an emphasis on capturing the clarity of the classic Heartwork production from the 1993 Carcass album. The gruesome mid-tempo mutilation of the lurid glow of a dead burning body and biomineralization cell death are like a new subgenre we might call morbid groove metal. There's no doubt that Celestial Sanctuary can see their own distinctive sound over the horizon. They recognise it on album number 2, but will they trademark it on the next record? You'll find no shortage of air guitar moments here, and how often can we say that about a modern death metal LP? Thanks for tuning in today, so go ahead and discover these records if you're looking for something new and invigorating. I'll be back in 4 weeks' time with a rundown of the best albums of September 2023. Until then, remember to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you soon. Take care.